Cabernet here in Rutherford is kind of special. And again, that's mostly due maybe to soil for some part. But whether you go up on that hill or, you know, here on the flatlands or different spots in Rutherford or Oakville, the soils can be different, but the Cabernet is always going to be kind of distinct just from the weather. So the biggest influence is the bay. I mean, that's why Napa Valley is Napa Valley, is it has those moderating influences of fog and the weather. So you get nice warm days, you get nice ripeness, and then cool nights as the fog gets sucked in. So that's the #1 reason that Napa is kind of a special place to grow, especially Cabernet, and Sauvignon Blanc for us especially. So a couple different times, Phlox has been a big issue in Napa and also in France. We introduced Phlox to France, I think in the 1830s or something, and it devastated the French wine industry. It did the same thing here in the 30s, and then it also did it again like in the late 80s. So Phlox comes in, it's a soil insect, feeds on the roots, and it kills like Cabernet, Merlot, all the different grapes that come from Europe. Because Phlox was, again, native to the east coast of the U.S. and in Europe they didn't have it, so the vines they weren't acclimated to it. They didn't evolve with Phlox, and they succumbed to it when you fed on it. So, long story short, so you got the rootstock down there. On that you graft or bud your desired variety. So from here up is the trunk, also called the scion. The scion is the top part of the plant, the rootstock's the bottom. So you get up to here, this is the cordon. We're going to go to the back, and I think I'll be able to show you cane pruning. We have a young cane prune parcel back there. But this vertical trunk running this direction, this part is called the cordon. Okay, this is a unilateral cordon. Is this too much? No. It's a unilateral cordon because it's going one way. Okay, a lot of the stuff you'll see is a bilateral cordon. Okay, so cordon, this one goes one way, so it's unilateral. This right here is called a spur position, and this is a spur. And you can imagine it's a little thing that looks like it's sticking up, so it's a spur. But that was cut or pruned from last year's budwood. So what would have happened was, before pruning, each one of these would have had shoots coming up, and there probably would have been 1, 2, or 3 on each one of these spur positions. But we cut back to that to kind of give the vine balance. For the most part, with this trellis system, we want most of these spurs to be facing straight up so we can get everything nice and uniform. Because when you're picking a parcel, I mean, even this small parcel, which is 2.5 acres, you want it to be very uniform. I mean, that's the #1 thing of grape growing, no matter what kind of wine you're growing or where, almost, is you want uniformity. So you want all your fruit zone to be right in the same area. You want each vine to have the same number of clusters, same number of shoots. If you're going to leaf, you want to be able to leaf in the same area, just so when you pick this parcel, you're getting the optimal flavor. Or if you had kind of stuff going all over the places, which you'll see kind of rarely in Napa, but you might see more commonly in other areas, because it costs more to have this kind of attention to detail. We have our Moscato. Muscat is a very common genetic mutation, good genetic mutation, not bad one, that happens in grapevines. And in Europe, the majority of table grapes have a Muscat influence, whether they be green or red. There's a Muscat influenced Chardonnay. I don't remember what the clone's called. There's Sauvignon Muscat, which is a Muscat influenced Sauvignon Blanc. Well, the guy Jeff, who's not here, who's fixing the pipe up at the ranch, was walking through a parcel of Sauvignon Blanc of ours probably 6 years ago, and there was a vine that had a huge amount of Muscat aroma to it and perfume, way more than like Sauvignon Muscat. So that's a new clone, but it has to be verifiably different. If you were to check the DNA, they usually can't tell the difference because they don't sequence every, like he said, they don't sequence every gene. If they did, you'd see the difference. But if you went to UC Davis and you said, is this Cabernet 337 or Cabernet Clone 7, they wouldn't be able to tell you.
Are you guys going to try and pursue that?
The clones?
Yeah, to have that clone certified as a separate clone? Or Davis or something like that.
We'll probably kind of not tell people like you guys, but no, we'll probably leave it a little bit more proprietary and not worry about getting royalties from it, and more worry about influencing our wine quality.
Okay. Or I was just thinking like even doing like a different wine from that lot or something like that.
You know, we've had this one vine for 6 years. We've had 50 vines for a couple years, and next year we'll actually have fruit that we can make wine off of, and it'll be an option for the winemakers to do that. You know, hopefully it'll be used on its own or in some kind of blend or fashion. Maybe we won't make good wine. You never know.